the much better internet than I do, but it's my account that it's on. So there really should be a way for me to let him see the actual streaming desktop, UI.
Yeah.
I mean, I gave him the stream key. That's fine. He's the one who's actually streaming it, but it would probably be good for him to be able to actually see excellent connection, your buffering and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, because there's a creator dashboard or whatever it's called on YouTube.
Exactly, and that's the Dwarf Fortress Roundtable YouTube channel is basically a sub channel of my account.
Yeah, I think you might be able to do that with a business account or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I don't want to actually pay for it though.
But no, it's not. It's a type of account. I think you can make God, I forget what it's called, but people kept telling me to do it, and I was like, I don't know if I need that. But you can make an account for your business, and you can have multiple channels, and you can also, I believe, have multiple access points in terms of users or your studios or whatever.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna bring up Trello to put a reminder to check that out.
Yeah, and I think
I wish I remember what it's called.
I have pretty good latency to the internet, I think. No dropped frames.
Yeah, what you
2 milliseconds
directly to level 3's backbone, right?
Yeah, pretty much. 2 milliseconds to Google, so that's probably pretty okay.
It must be near like Silicon Valley or something.
You know, it's really funny. A lot of Silicon Valley has really terrible internet connectivity because a lot of it was built in the early 1900s, so it has all these copper wires, and it's very, very difficult to try to convince neighbors to like update that stuff. So there's a lot of like rubbish, 3 megabit DSL things for $900 or whatever.
Hey,
it's shocking.
I used to work in telco. I was in a DSL department for a regional telco. So yeah, I know all about those copper pairs.
Yeah, it's awful. But I think it's probably still a markup for the telco.
It is amazing though what they can get out of that crappy, outdated 1952 technology.
Well, and they own the poles.
It is shocking.
So no one else can string fiber up without getting an act of Congress. So.
Well, yeah, and also you talk about rural areas. They're not going to be able to. It's not going to be affordable if the company's the only one playing. If it's not subsidized, it's not going to be affordable to stream, fiber for County Road 3482.
Yeah, when we lived in the countryside, we were told by every telco that address would never have internet access. Like, well, that's lame. How can you guys get away with that?
See, that's pretty much everyone can get DSL now because just the technology is
not everyone.
For the copper pair has gotten so. Well, yeah, not everyone.
But they also don't like to roll out DSL anymore. The telcos are pretty anti that. But anyway, this is not a TED talk on the evil of telcos, as much as I might try to derail it to that.
Oh, and you'll get me off on that too, because like I said, I used to. Be in the industry.
You don't say. Oh, hello.
Yeah. Anyway,
moving on.
Dwarf Fortress After Dark.
When the lights come
okay.
out.
So we got the. Does anybody want to go anything before we actually start the quote unquote recording?
I think I'm ready to go.
All right.
I'm feeling confident.
I have to bite my tongue and not do the schmeal because I've got a canned intro now. So.
All right.
Oh, speaking of which, I've got a guy that I know here that I'm going to actually have, I think, record a voiceover for it so that it's not the computer dude. So that might work out pretty well. So anyway. Okay. Welcome back, everyone, to Dwarf Fortress Roundtable. We have that's just awful. Welcome to Dwarf Fortress Roundtable. And I want to say the podcast for all things dwarfy, damn it.
I mean, you're welcome to do that. I mean, I wouldn't oppose that.
I know, right?
2 times dwarf. Yeah, it's okay.
I mean, are we live?
So we're back for episode 63, and joining us today is Nathan, also known as Tekid from the YouTube channel Tekid. Welcome,
Hello
Nathan.
there.
Welcome back, actually.
Yeah, this is stay number 3, I think. Glad to see you guys put my name on the chair this time. got it reserved for me.
Yeah.
Anything,
Sure.
sir.
Well, we had some other name on there, and at the last minute, I went and had some needlework done to take off the
Conan.
multi-syllable.
I
The
think it
one
said
that's like 5 or
Conan.
6 syllables. Yeah.
Yeah.
Conan O'Brien was our guest, but he unfortunately pulled out at the last minute. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, no offense to Conan O'Brien, but times are moving on. I think it's my time in the sun here.
Well,
I think
to
I
be
can
honest,
outdo that guy.
Your Dwarf Fortress content is, way
Far
above
better
what
than
that
his?
guy's doing. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
I know.
Yeah,
crap. when it
that
comes
is
to
true.
that. I mean, what has he ever done for the community?
But do you have Max Weinberg playing drums? That's the question.
Ooh, I need a drummer. That's what my channel really needs, is a drummer.
You could just get yourself a Roland, not the one here, but like one of the,
What?
the OG.
Like the OG. So I'm not the OG Roland.
No, there's the
Ouch.
Roland, the 404 and the 808, the drum
Yeah.
machines.
You're an electronics manufacturer, correct, Roland?
Also, I also make shoes.
Yeah, I'm a hot dog manufacturer. you know?
Delicious. Now
Like
I'm
hot
hungry
dogs.
and I want to listen to techno.
Yeah.
It's
Quick question: is
Oh,
the
yeah.
stream actually online?
Can
The
anyone
YouTube
see
stream.
It looks like it.
I've clicked start
Because
streaming.
I asked
show
somebody
live.
and they say it's not online.
I'm looking at it from a viewer perspective, and I don't see it as online.
That's
Really?
interesting to me. So what happens if I stop? Last time I did this, I stopped streaming, and that caused
well. Let me.
a schism.
That's really. Can you?
What if I'm just gonna do it? I'm a madman with nothing to lose. Here it goes.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it online right now.
So
Okay, no
it
data
says
to
it's
stream will end shortly
streaming.
unless you restart your streaming software. Okay, now it's back up.
Is it though?
Let
Am I
me-
attractive? Please be honest.
Okay.
If you. Yeah, if you actually go to the link that I posted on the site and on Discord, it is there.
So if you go to the main channel and click the
Well,
live stream
yeah.
video,
So it is.
What? That is weird.
Yeah, maybe
That's-
we should switch to Twitch.
this is a bit bananas. I don't even see the link. I don't know what's
I'll put
going on
it-
anymore.
It's really
I put it on dfroundtable.com and I put it on
Is it
the
in
Discord
All right.
in the tavern.
Perfect.
So let me see. Let me see.
Okay, it seems to be working for me. I can see it.
Ooh, I typed something in wrong on the direct link.
Something bad
I'm
is
like-
happening in this fortress.
I'm kind of stuck in the 90s again because I have a professional Discord now on my phone, but my friend Discord is on my computer. So the result is I have to manually type in URLs into my browser if I want to use a link on my phone from the professional account. Because Discord doesn't like the multi-account thing. I have to log out and log back in.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's grown very quickly from what it started to what people expect it to be now. Humble
Well,
beginnings.
we
So
have
yeah, this
no we
bonkers
have,
fortress is still
two
running.
concurrent viewers. Yeah, and they're probably all us.
Well, when I clicked it, suddenly I got an echo, so I closed it out, but it did seem to work. So problem solved. Right?
Well, it depends on. Of course, this is a topic for off the channel. But I guess if the problem is that we're not streaming, that problem's solved. If the problem is there's nobody watching us stream, that one's not.
Yeah, one of those is easy
So-
to solve. Huh. Well, I'm
Yeah.
watching it
Yeah,
live.
and also the question is how bad do we actually want to solve it? Because I could actually be marketing the live stream, which we absolutely don't. But that's
With the marketing
in the
department.
back of my head a little bit by design again to give the Patreon. Oh, I didn't post it on Patreon. That could also help.
Yeah, this certainly warrants some investigation. I've got you guys up on 2 different devices under 2 different accounts, and your channel does not say live.
Yeah, it never does for me either. Like, I
Really?
have to always get the direct link from the Discord, otherwise I will not be able to see the stream.
So what am I
But-
doing wrong on my 'cause that sounds like it's something that I've got screwed up on my on the stream.
I mean, the only option that YouTube would have, the only option and not bug, would be live or public or private. As long as it's
But,
public, then it should be visible.
I know for a
Oh,
fact
that's what it
that
is. That's what
for-
it is. That's what it is.
Really?
That's
Yeah,
what it is, yeah.
because for one of our viewers, it constantly pops up as a notification. So she's able to get the stream.
Special
but
privileges.
I'm not. Yeah.
Okay,
No,
check now.
I'm literally in the stream, so like.
Looks
Well,
like you're
yeah,
live.
So did you check the? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. There's Swolfie. Yes. Okay.
Oh
For
god.
some
Oh,
reason,
oh
I'm
no,
fine.
the audio's on. Speech jamming. Okay.
Volume down.
And this is through
Okay.
your channel as a viewer. I'm seeing you guys live as unassociated with your links.
Well, what it was I had the privacy for the stream at private. Again, as we were talking before, it has to do with the fact that YouTube doesn't treat individual streams as individual streams. It just
Gotcha.
treats it as one long continuous video that is either live or not. Because I switched it to private whenever I pulled down the episode 62 live stream after a few days.
Unacceptable, YouTube.
Mm.
Unacceptable.
But I didn't actually pull down the live stream. Anyway, this is all meta stuff that nobody cares about except for
Right?
us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So welcome back, Nathan.
Good to be
It's
here.
been I think it was last summer whenever you were on last time or something.
Yeah,
like that.
if it was even the last season, I can't remember. So much has happened. Actually, it must have been because I didn't even start my content until the middle of last year. So who knows?
So,
What
yeah,
is time
congratulations
anymore?
on picking up all the subscribers, man.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I did not expect it to happen so, I don't know, fluidly. Like it just climbed up to 1,000, and I was like, oh well, I guess there it is. I'm a professional. Woo! I know what I'm doing.
That's the punishment you get for creating worthwhile content.
That's a good content, good voice, and you have people watch you. So
High production value.
go figure.
Right. I used to disagree with my ex and others that I have a good voice because everyone hears their voice differently in their head, and I guess the particular frequencies just don't bounce around in my skull the way they do in the air. And then I started this, and like the whole world was like, "You're an idiot, dude. You don't sound bad." I was like, "Oh well."
It's deep, resonant, and articulate. That's
Yeah, it's clear.
3 things that you want.
It's articulate when I try, but I'm from the Midwest, so when I'm having a regular conversation, I get a little bit of mush mouth that I have to fight against sometimes.
Oh yeah, that's my life.
Yeah, I know the struggles of talking English as well.
Let's do the next one in German, just so we can feel what it must be
Right.
like for Roland.
We can switch on over to a Midwest accent if you want to, also, guys.
Well,
Just
that
saying.
sounds-
Oh, yeah.
That sounds great. Yeah, how's your weather?
No,
How
don't
are
knock
you
me
doing?
out.
How's the weather doing? It's pretty nice
Okay,
here.
so
Oh, it's pretty good.
so we're talking about
Oh,
different
real good.
Midwest
Real
there.
good.
So
Real
yeah,
good day.
upper Midwest and lower Midwest, mid South.
Yeah.
There's a big part of this country that people call Midwest.
Yeah, I'm from the
stretches
northern
from-
border of Illinois, almost in Chicago.
It stretches from like Kansas to Ohio. People call the Midwest.
Yeah, I
You
saw
know-
yeah.
Eastern Colorado counts too, because if you've been there, I don't want to.
I actually saw a little bit of an argument on a stream between viewers and streamer about whether or not Colorado and Denver are the Midwest, because people were like, it's the middle of the country and it's kind of in the west, and it's like, that's not what Midwest means.
Yeah.
That's not what it means.
Another podcast, people are arguing whether Tennessee was the Midwest, and I'm like, no,
Ugh,
Tennessee's the South.
It's just the
Right.
parts that you fly over to get to the other places.
Bible
Midwest
Belt if you
is
want to
not a
get
location.
specific.
I'm sorry.
Midwest is an attitude.
Midwest is
Oh, yeah,
Okay, before I
cheese
get into
curds.
trouble, yeah.
Wisconsin Dells.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah. Anyway, welcome back. We'll get back to Dwarf Fortress content here in a moment. I think we might. So
Yeah, is that what this is? Is that why I'm here? Dwarf Fortress? I almost
Ostensibly.
forgot.
That was the theory, the original theory. But
Somewhat.
I guess we're going to talk about regional and geographic differences in the United States. So Roland,
In reality, we just missed talking to you, right? So,
Well, I'm glad I can scratch that itch.
okay. All right, so let's take a look here at one of my cats just messed something up. So, anywho, that's the wrong link. There we are. All right, in the news, we have some. We have what I consider to be quite an exciting development that came out on the Bay 12 Games report on February 1st. This is a direct quote from Toadie's soundbite, if you will. He said, "We are working on a public-facing roadmap now to take us all to the release with some more clarity. Not sure exactly when it'll be posted, a few weeks or a bit more, perhaps." That is pretty cool.
a few weeks or a bit more. Hey man, whatever works for him. Like, it's cool. I want him to feel good about it when he puts it out. That's all.
Besides the old dev pages, I don't think that he has ever had any kind of roadmap that was public facing.
I think this is extremely
Yeah,
cool
that's true.
because I've been part of a lot of early access games since like Minecraft, and I think that was my first maybe. Anyway, there's like two reasons why this could happen. Either they're under pressure to maintain enthusiasm for the game that's dwindling, which is kind of the nefarious reason to make a roadmap, and usually it ends up not being accurate. Or they actually just have a really good idea of what is left to do. They actually kind of know what they're going to do. And I think, judging from how Toady One has approached this project so far, he doesn't seem the type to ever give to the pressure of the corporate machine, so to speak. I highly doubt it's the first. I'm sure he just actually has a good idea of what's left to be done.
I don't even know who would be the ones pressuring. If anybody, it would have to be Kit Fox, and I just really don't see that happening.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, Kit Fox doesn't seem the character to be doing that kind of
They don't have that
stuff.
twirly mustache or anything, do they?
Yeah.
Pretty okay.
Twirly mustache.
You know what I mean.
Tony, could you get a little closer again to the mic?
Sure, yeah.
There we are.
Right.
Yeah, Kit Fox has their own things going. They don't seem to care that much. I shouldn't say care, but they don't seem to have a focus at all on their website.
Yeah.
At least about Dwarf Fortress at all. No, it's
I think that's
Boyfriend Dungeon and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed. They've
Which
got a lot
sounds like
of
an
other
evil game.
All that,
Sounds like something.
Yeah, all that optimism, though, aside about the roadmap, I will say this is still video game territory. And as a result, even the most benevolent video game developer is subject to the pervasive optimism that comes with making dates and roadmaps. So even though Toady is probably being completely honest, when we see the roadmap, I think we all have to understand that we should expect up to double the time that the roadmap indicates, depending on circumstances.
Well, I doubt that he'll even have dates on the roadmap. It'll probably be more like, these are the things that we need to do.
Yeah, if he's gonna do it really, really wisely and tighten it up, he probably won't put dates on it.
Yeah. Every date it'll happen when it happens.
Well, doesn't the Steam page actually say time is relative?
Yeah.
I feel like that's pretty indicative of what we might get, which is totally cool. Like, I don't want him to Cyberpunk 2077 this thing.
Let's not go then to that direction.
Dwarf Fortress 2077.
Right.
No.
Like, he removes a whole bunch of features from the game and ships it. Like, wait, there's no Z levels anymore? Damn it.
And that doesn't just the slipping timeline doesn't only apply to games. It applies to software development in general, because you just don't know what you're going to run into until you run into the things, typically.
Yeah.
But one thing that they have worked on developing, and it's not on a roadmap because the roadmap's not out yet. Alexander from Kit Fox posted a report on the Steam release news, and links to these will all be in the show notes. But it shows that during world generation, a text box is going to appear displaying the significant events of the that happened during world generation. And every second you're going to get an update of the most important thing that's happened in the world generation in the last second of development. So that could be really, really cool.
Yeah.
Especially whenever you're taking one of those worlds that takes 26 hours to build because it's 1,000 years old and large. That would be fun.
You know what I would really like? My big wish list item is for a native Mac Silicon compiled release, so that it has so that we're not running under Rosetta anymore. That would be amazing.
Someday.
That would be amazing. So I
thought
really
you were
hope
happy
he's compiling. I mean, it's
go ahead, Nathan.
good, but it's
Oh,
not
I was
amazing.
I was just gonna say that the Legends thing. I'm really excited for that. Super excited for it. In my opinion, Legends mode is probably the biggest benefit to the player, hidden under the biggest pile of confusion. It's like the one thing that would probably be the best boon to the game if it were just dug up and brought to the surface.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Yeah, totally. That's the one that when you tell people about it, you're like, no, you don't understand. Listen, this is what's happening. And it's very difficult to communicate that, or even have people figure out how to view the Legends mode. It's very complicated.
I do wish that he would figure out a way to have that Legends mode data accessible during a fortress run somehow. And of course, I don't know how the thing works under the hood, but is the reason that it's not for game integrity so that you don't know what's going on outside your fortress, or?
Well, there's a switch.
I don't think that's a problem.
Meth hacked it.
Yeah, it's not really there's a switch in world generation. If you go to the advanced world generation parameters, you'll see an option, grammar aficionados out there. You'll see an option for reveal all historical events, and you can turn that off. And then if you were to access Legends mode, I'm not exactly sure how much information is revealed, but you may have a limited amount that makes sense to include in the game, where you don't necessarily know about this other civilization's elven diplomat that turned into a werewolf and then bit the human civilization's queen, and then there was a war.
I remember Meth has a mod that you can get that will let you build a library, like a librarian's desk or something, as a workshop, and then you can use that workshop to interact with Legends mode.
Yeah, it actually works fairly decently.
Yeah.
Sometimes it crashes.
It has a scary warning on it.
Yeah, it has the scary warning of it might crash and then you lose your progress. So I used it a while because I wanted to find out if that is actually very nice or not. And I would quick save every time because it actually did crash a couple of times on me. However, I paddled back a little bit, and now I just use the extracted Legends stuff of the Legends viewer. That the stuff that you get out with DF hack, export Legends. Then I use Legends viewer on a different window. It's not updated with every year or every month or whatever. So I can't really see what is happening right now in my fortress. I can only see what has happened in the last year, or whenever the last time was I did the extract of the Legends, which is sad because I would love to see the very newest updates to it.
Yeah, all of those Legends mode viewers have that same problem, except for perhaps Meph's library mod, which I have to check that out again. Again, I'll link that in the show notes so that you can download. Is that part of Meph's launcher?
I believe that it is in his.
Don't think it's been updated recently, but
Yeah,
but in any case,
he might not
I'll
be
check that out.
maintaining it.
But the problem with all of those Legends mode viewers is that you have to remember to dump your Legends data between fortresses, and I never do that. Whenever I retire a fortress or one, just dies, the first thing I want to do is embark again, and then I embark again and go, oh crap, I should have exported. And I'm too lazy to make a copy of my saves and do the whole thing. I'm
in that camp, and this is why I think that this is such a huge development for the game, this little mini view we're going to get during World Gen. I'm in that camp of I really, really love Legends mode. I really, really like what I can find out, what I can learn about my civilization. I don't use it. Because it's just like I don't want to have to go to a different program basically to learn about a game I'm playing on another like if it were just more available, I would use the crap out of it. And I think that having like little tips, fun tips, and then a Legends viewer that works in the game might inspire people, or direct people at least. It'll direct people into Legends mode to where they need to be. Like, oh, your civilization just started a war with the elves. Now you know that you can find a war with elves that's relevant to your game somewhere in Legends mode, instead of going in blind and sifting through a sea of sands, or a beach of sand grains, looking for the one that counts for something.
Yeah, if you could have a news feed of things that relate to your civilization and or your fortress or your enemies, that would be cool. But I am very happy that we have what we have.
Yeah. You mean the external programs?
Yeah, well, we do have those. But again, the only one that I've heard of that possibly could be done real time, in a sense, is Mef's library mod. So,
I got scared off by the warnings on it, and then I moved and I jump around tile sets and went back to the traditional lazy noob pack, so I didn't use the Mef pack anymore, so I gave up on that aspect of it. But
save early and often. So those are the big two news items that we've had since the last
pretty
last
big
time that we met.
Maybe next time we'll be talking about the new release.
It'd be nice. At least maybe we'll be talking about the roadmap to the new release anyway next time.
Oh yeah.
I did want to just give a quick shout out to Krug Smash's Splatterface, his third annual Splatterface tournament. He got some really good art of his combatants. So if you haven't yet checked that out, it's a very entertaining and some very nice drawings of some very imaginative forgotten beasts that are being used as combatants. So.
Yeah, there we are with a Krug Smash button again.
I haven't checked it out.
You need an old radio broadcast soundboard, and you need a button that goes like Krug Smash.
Is this a YouTube channel? I'm not familiar.
Never heard of it. Yeah.
Does he make videos?
Well, this certainly will be cut out of the main podcast. But yeah, I do have a little what you call it? Oh crap! What's the name for something that's special that happens at certain times? A little Easter egg, I guess.
Christmas.
Yeah, whenever Krug Smash's name is said on the podcast, there's a little background noise that's made. So.
Every time we say his name, I kill another cat in this fortress.
Damn, that's a lot of cats.
I'm sure you have plenty of cats.
You have cats to spare, man.
Well, we've been on a bit of a butcher frenzy with the cats, to be honest with you. It's soap season, so there's a lot of Polts here in our stream. All right.
Okay, so let's take a look at these questions that we've received from our listeners. Got a few in since we have last covered Q&A sessions, so. And it'll be great to get Nathan's input on these items here. So, Justin asked in a comment on episode 59, how to deal with excess prepared food. I suggested you just trade it off, and he did that. But he also commented that he believes that food stored in stockpiles might be able to become spoiled due to vermin. And that didn't sound right to me, but I don't know. Can vermin ruin food?
Should I start, or do you want to start, Nathan?
You probably have the technical knowledge about whether or not vermin
Technical.
spoil food. I actually don't know that one because I don't care. I'll explain why. But go ahead.
Okay, so the simple answer is yes, vermin can spoil food.
Even in
it
stockpiles.
is in the stockpiles, yes. And there is, what was it? One of the evil things. Creepy crawlers? Evil eyes? I'm not sure. One of the evil things that actually makes spoil food faster. However, it seems that this is basically the only vermin that can do that. So if you're not in an evil biome or in a good biome even, and you only have fluffy wamblers, then you're pretty good to go. However, they might gnaw on it, and then it disappears. In a stockpile, is the difference here is if you have it in a barrel, it's not getting spoiled, not by like natural spoiling, nor by any vermin that you possibly have. So what we're talking about is just raw food sitting on the floor. So like a leg of lamb, just chilling on the floor. That gets spoiled. Yes.
On the floor in a stockpile, or
Yeah.
just on the floor?
But only like it spoils on the floor naturally. We all seen that, in the butcher workshop. There's a lot of stink usually if you butcher too much.
Right.
But in the stockpile, it only spoils if you have one of these creepy crawlers or evil eyes. I really have to check that. But one of the vermin kinds in the evil biome that spoils it, even in the stockpile. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
I consider excess meals, particularly excess meals and food, to be more of a spoilage on a fortress than any vermin can enact on the food itself. So I don't really care. I think, in fact, vermin are probably doing you a favor if you have an excess food production problem by helping get rid of some of that crap.
Oh, interesting.
I've been looking at community forts and stuff lately, and although it's not present in all forts, there are some very well buttoned up forts. There is commonly an awful problem with overproduction of food, but it looks like it looks like you solved the problem and traded it away, right? Which is obviously a good way to do it. If you don't need a bajillion dwarf bucks, then I recommend switching to lavish meals only and setting up a work order and then fallowing half of your farm seasons, and just see where your excess goes. Does it continue to grow? Does it begin to dwindle? And then make another adjustment to your farms from there, because you're going to cost yourself frame rate, and you're going to have gigantic stocks lists or kitchen lists. You don't want that. You don't want that. You don't want all that food. Nobody needs that much food, especially if you're farming for it.
No, you need it. You need it. You need all of it.
You need,
like those 6. What did I have last time? Seahorses. Just 6 seahorses chilling in a barrel. Just you need those. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, you just bring in some
collector.
hungry heads. I've got a hungry head here attacking everyone. Remember Hungry Head?
Maybe that can help you with your food. Your food stocks.
More hungry heads, it's more mouths to feed, and it's clearly hungry. So
I do feel the need to give a little bit of context there. Spoiler alert. Nathan and Roland run a Bloodline Fortress together that they stream the management of, and we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But it sounds like one of them prefers to have more food stockpiled than the other. So.
Don't worry. I don't sacrifice the meals. I just try to make the food into meals, and then Roland can do what he pleases with them.
Let it rot.
We'll talk about that later, I suppose.
So I don't know if it even matters. I don't know if it even matters, but whenever I'm looking at whether or not I have enough food for my fortress, whether I need to either start hunting or bump up production, I hit the Z key and look at my food stocks. I like to see, for a 100 dwarf fortress, I like to see somewhere around 600-700 food overall in my stockpiles, and that's what I kind of go by. If I don't have that much, I try to produce more. If I have more than that, I back off production. Is that overproducing?
No, I don't think so.
No, that is definitely
No.
a very sensible number. I think I'm usually like, are we talking about like everything together or just other?
Everything minus drinks, yeah.
Wow, okay, you're really like flying low here because good lord, my stockpiles are usually like at 2,000 each.
Oh god.
I can actually check what I usually. Okay, right now I sport around 2,000 fish, almost 4,000 plant, and slightly over 10,000 other things, which includes prepared meals.
Let me just say this, Roland. Your one of your 3 stockpiles for food is larger than any stockpile I've ever made in this game. One of them.
Yeah.
For anything. I've never made a wood stockpile that big. I've never made a stone stockpile that big, ever. And you have 3
I have to admit, in this current thing, I actually have 4 large stockpiles that are just full with food. And I keep like making prepared food now. So this is actually not the apex that I had of like a mound. I already sold a lot of it. And it you know, I make it into prepared meals and sell it for way over the price. So this is absolutely not the apex, but my food stockpiles were so full that every single square was full with a barrel that was full, and then there was like stuff rotting in corners of my fortress because I had just literally not had the space to put it anywhere. I am one of those people that overproduce. So your numbers sound very nice.
Yeah, for comparison to mine, I have my manager set up food production orders that usually stop at about 500 or 1,000, depending on my population. Prepared meals, I ignore ingredients. And then I have my drinks at about 1,000 for a full fortress. That's a full season of drinks for 200. And that's where my manager will stop production. But yeah, when food gets overproduced, we're talking like exponential growth levels. We're talking someone has like 500 food items. That's fine. That makes sense. Then it starts to drift up to 1,000. Okay, but no big deal. You're not overproducing. Overproducing doesn't start till that grows into 10 to 15,000. Like it's exponential.
Oh yeah, I've never had that much.
Yeah. It happens like that.
All right. Thanks, Justin, for the question, and let's see now. We'll probably get back more into this. I have a feeling coming up when we discuss Singe Metal proper. Okay. Russell sent in an email praising Captain Duck's tutorials, and he also asked if any of us have tried a hermit fortress, meaning a fortress where you end up with just one dwarf doing everything. Has anyone else done that? Outside of adventure mode, because that kind of sounds like
the hermit fortress.
Yeah,
I tried it one time. It was hard.
Yeah, that's true.
Russell thinks that the funniest part and also the most tragic is having to kill off the other 6 dwarves and dealing with your migrants. So you'd have to kill off or dispose of your migrants in some way. I guess you could just exile all of them. But.
Yeah. There is a very nice thing that you can use if you have a DF hack that is just slap in something/hermit. You have to look up the actual command for it, but that disables all migrants. So you only work what you have on the map. And I tried it with one dwarf. That was hard, because the poor dwarf has to work all day and only gets very little things done, and then he's really lonely. So you kind of have to make sure that he's a dwarf that actually likes being lonely. Otherwise, the fortress really does just has a limited time of runtime
Until he
that it
breaks.
can possibly go. Yeah, it's very sad. So instead of that, I just tried like a family fort. I had two families, and they started to like marry each other, and I had like a nice large family after a while. That worked way better. But a hermit fortress is insanely hard because you tend to overwork the dwarf, and then you're like, you know, me as overproducer in food items, for example, I don't even know how much food I need to get a single dwarf through a year. So I produced almost 100 drinks, and then realized that that is so much for the single dwarf. I basically never have to touch making drinks in the next few years again. But my dwarfs hated it. Like my dwarf singular hated it because he had to work several weeks just brewing alcohol. Yeah.
Tony, how long did your
hard.
fortress last? Do you remember?
Oh, not too long. Yeah, I think he fell in the water and died. That's what I think happened.
Was it in this
the
same
classic
insane world?
story. No, it wasn't in this crazy one, because I'm sure the undead would have killed him. I really can't figure out why this fortress isn't getting sieged. I think it's going to die from the inside.
Oh, you talking about the one that's on the
Yeah,
LiveStream?
yeah, the old world one.
Dwarves and water, man, they don't mix.
I know,
I've,
he should have been more careful.
I've never thought about doing a hermit fortress from the beginning, but actually somewhat recently I thought about if a fortress were to start spiraling, right, and it just basically is doomed, I would probably try to take some kind of immortal dwarf that might be in my population, like a necromancer or a vampire or something, and hold them up in a castle or wherever, and let the fortress die, and then just have this like bitter old vampire or something living among the corpses of his forgotten friends, so to speak, and just like have this like tower of my own, like this tower of like Draculaic sadness. Draculaic's not a word. It is now, but
It is.
It's easy to envision that.
But that has to, there has to be circumstances for that to happen. You can't start an embark on the context of a fortress that has been through 10 years of growth and then sudden misery.
By the way, I think Draculaic is a great new adjective. We have coined a term.
For sure.
All right. So thanks, Russell, for sending in your question and comment. And we've got another comment here, but I'm going to actually save Calvin's until our next episode. So Calvin, thanks for sending us in the email. But I think that we may end up having a long discussion about this one as well, if that's okay with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Because we need to move on to our prime topic today, which is to discuss Singe Metal. So we'll be right back and we'll talk about that. Fake commercial.
Fake commercial, nice.
Get all your vitamins and minerals with Dwarfos. The kids love them.
Now with more mosquito brain.
Dusted with colorful, deadly dust. I mean, vitamin dust. Vitamin dust.
Okay, well, yeah. You have just forced me to take that and make a little fake commercial out of it. So sorry, you just made one.
That's fine. That's fine. I hereby put it in public space, whatever the license is.
All right. So as most of our listeners probably know, and if you don't, then you need to check out our show notes for a link to the respective stream locations. But Roland and Nathan have a Bloodline Fortress that they're doing together called Singe Metal.
That's right.
Metal.
Pretty
Cool.
Pretty awesome name.
So how old is that now? As game years?
I just finished year 9.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start year 10 soon-ish. It's getting there. It's getting there.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I would say the fortress is moving faster than with a single manager in terms of growth, or slower, because there's so much different stuff happening when you have two people running a fortress.
Yeah.
Normally, one person will ignore half the game. I would ignore justice. Like I don't care, whatever. I hardly ever visited that menu, and I would focus on industry. Whereas Roland would probably ignore the time I put into my crafting floors and instead work on military and justice.
Yeah, that is correct. But it's also very nice because I don't have to get into like the whole food production thing. I mean, we in the fortress there is still slight overproduction, but it's not as stupidly massive as something that I would have crafted myself. So everything kind of works. I just put into the manager like I need this and that many swords. I need this and that many, and they do it, and I know they do it, and I just have to check if we actually have the steel bars for it, and then I can go back to doing what I love, which is justice or like military things. But the game is also really trying to make sure I don't have the time and my dwarfs don't have the time. So we got attacked a lot of times, which the attack itself, very harmless. Okay, I trained the dwarfs. They're pretty good. They know what they're doing. They know which end of the spear goes into the goblin, but the cleanup is terrible. Okay.
Yeah.
So the worst year was the year 6, I think, for me, because I had 3 attacks and I finished cleaning every time, and then the new attack would come, and I'm like, oh god, no, not again. And I just sat there with like really big eye bags at some point because it was like, oh yeah, sure, of course an attack, and then the elves came, and I'm like, elves, whatever. And then they came with a lot of war animals, and I'm like, wow, it keeps happening. They keep popping into my map, they keep popping in.
I think that the game has become sentient against us because
they're really trying.
It knows what we don't want to happen, and it's not the fortress, it's not the dwarves dying, it's the fortress becoming cluttered with garbage. And my year included a goblin attack, which was actually mostly dwarves, followed by 2 elf attacks and a weredeer. And I was doing a great job cleaning up. I have installed a 20-floor garbage chute from the surface down to a garbage dump that goes to the magma from within the fortress. And it was doing a wonderful job. And then the game was like, no, we can't have you looking nice and clean over here. We're going to send you 35 elves and war animals to pair with them. Another 40 elves, go. And then it sends a weredeer that's invincible, apparently. That weredeer couldn't die. So I think 8 dwarves got killed or expelled, or like 7 dwarves, because it just couldn't no one could kill it. It was like, it was like a giant weredeer, but it wasn't. It was just regular. As regular as a weredeer can be.
Those are pretty overpowered creatures. Anythings, I think it's...
Yeah, that's true.
And we didn't have a fantastic guardian angel this time around, so it was a little different circumstances than the last time. Just saying. Sorry, Swolfie. Her death still weighs heavy on my mind.
Wow. Okay. I'm gonna take that personally.
No. You did what you had to do. I agree with your policies, but I had to kill her, and that was the first time Dwarf Fortress ever presented me with any real drama that I felt. I had to kill Talto. I liked her, and I killed her.
Yeah, it goes hard if you like look into characters and such. But for example, the game is really trying to make sure the game is not as smooth as it could have been. For example, I come into a episode and I'm like, okay, let's try and get some raiding done. And what happens? I don't get any raiding done because we're getting attacked so much, and I have to like clean up things.
Yeah.
So, oh my god, like I'm still trying to figure out what I'm actually trying to raid. I'm not going for the tower, even though I probably should. But I can't raid the elven civilization. It's way too big. I can't raid the goblin civilization. It's way too big. And when I did that, they just got stuck and I got attacked and everything was terrible.
Well, I have 2 words for you, Roland. Grizzly bears. We have grizzly bears now.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go. We're gonna march them out there. You know, I don't know how many grizzly bears it's gonna take, but but we got them. We also need to get another giant leopard. How did we become at war with the elves? Do you remember?
No, I absolutely have no clue.
One day they just hated us. Yeah.
Yeah. They just stopped coming after a while, and then we received some of the elven ambers, and I figured the second the elves stopped coming in, because I tend to look forward to trading for exotic animals, they just weren't there. So I was like, what is happening? And then one time I actually checked it and I saw, oh, we're actually at war with the elves. I assume it has something to do with our parent civilization that just started attacking the elves, and we're just a very lonely fortress over there.
Yeah, could be. I went into Legends before we started this, and I found that our civilization had joined those elves in attacks against goblins, particularly at a site called Watchpad, for over 100 years on a yearly basis. So we seem to be good friends. And then as soon as we start our fort, they're like, well, who are these guys? Let's fuck them up. Sorry.
What does skirmishing mean? Do you
there.
guys have any civilizations around you that are skirmishing with you? Have you seen
well, that? It means just did I say skirmish, by the way?
No, I was just looking at our streamed fortress here, and there's a civilization next to us where we're skirmishing, and I was like, I don't know that I've seen that before.
Okay, I think that just means that they're not yet going to openly attack you. But I'm not certain.
It sounds to me well, I don't know. So I don't know, but if I had to guess, I'd say maybe one site of theirs is attacking one site of yours, but the civilizations as a whole aren't at war. Because like a skirmish is usually just like it would mean like a fight without greater implications, right? Like you're just fighting. You're not in some sort of political, struggle with each other.
We just don't like each other.
But the elves being at war is troublesome because now we can't get more giant leopards.
Yeah, very sad.
Which I really wanted to make giant leopard capes for the boners, my personal squad.
Can't you go and raid and capture the animals if you do a raid on their civilization?
Yeah, but the possibility of us actually catching a giant leopard is fairly small, because the elves, you have to imagine it as there's a lot of animals, and the pool of what we could technically steer is very large. But the possibility that they actually decide for like one of the maybe 10 giant leopards, or one of the apparently million mandrills that they have, they probably just take a lot of mandrills. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, I had to deal with some of them, some of the mandrills. I've done some developments in terms of a new forge. There's magma forges now. Magma smelters. The forge has yet to be set up. So that's kind of troublesome. I was so close. But speaking in terms of when you put orders in and stuff for food and things, I do put a lot of restraints on myself, because part of me wants to just be like, no, we're going to organize this like this. All these things are going to work this way. And I'm like, no. This is a bloodline fortress. I got to play it cool, work with, cooperative attitude. But at some points, it works really interesting, because in a very interesting way, because you'll submit a manager order for, say, lavish meals, 500 lavish meals or whatever. And I've actually sort of taken on the internal role in the game of the manager in a way, because I'll see your orders and I'll be like, I see Roland has submitted a request for more lavish meals. Allow me to create an actual, so I'll like get rid of the 500 lavish meals and be like, well, if we make actually 100 per season, and we do that, given these particular conditions, that should satisfy the 500 and then continue to make the lavish meals in the future, blah, blah, blah. I type in this stuff in and I'm like, I'm actually the manager here. Like I've actually become like Roland is simply submitting requests of me to, and you know, I try to set up the workstations because I'm like, Roland is going to need steel for the spear. So, all right, so let's organize this. And I almost set up a farm, in fact, for paper making. I was like, I could do a 2-story crafting thing. I could use the downstairs to dump water in order to create a farm below where we'll grow papyrus or something, whatever we can grow. And then the top story will become the processing for paper making. And I was like, because Roland wants books. You know, Roland asked for books. And I, as the manager, will now create a workflow and hire dwarves to create a bookmaking industry.
Well, that also brings me to a question that I've got. Do you find that your fortress is more balanced with 2 of you managing it, or have you even had it running long enough to know that? Do you find that, but really the balance is better because of 2 different styles?
Yeah, I would agree. I have a very, like, we have a good military going. We have a lot of food. We have a lot of drinks. We have a lot of other stuff. Like we have even an automated millstone and like a cool waterfall entrance kind of thing going on. And there's a lot of stuff happening at once all over the place. And yeah, like a functioning justice system, but also a functioning farming system, and also a functioning cool side project where we have like a small, how would we even call this, like a reverse aquarium in the river. There's a lot of stuff happening. Yeah,
an aquarium in the kind that you visit, not the kind you keep on your desk.
Right.
The actual, you know, park style aquarium,
like a museum of fish.
Yeah. It is. I'd say it's definitely more balanced, especially in the context of what can go wrong. So for something to destroy Singe Metal, it's going to have to land first on the right year, and it's going to have to exploit a weakness that isn't covered by the developments of a year when the player who counters that threat was playing. For example, wear attack on my year was actually a danger to the fort because I usually get lazy with those, but I took it seriously this time because Singe Metal is rather important. But that was a real threat to the fortress because I don't have too much experience at doing all of the motions correctly. A lot of times it takes down my fort. But then on Roland's year, where something he might normally neglect that normally may cause a fortress to fail, I probably have that covered. And so a threat really has a small window. It kind of has to hit us at the right year when we're vulnerable, or else the other guy has it figured out. So normally I totally ignore justice, for example, and maybe someone who needs to be imprisoned doesn't get imprisoned. It goes berserk in the tavern and gets away with it, and now there's a spiral or something. But, you know, Roland's got that set up, so we're good.
Yep.
Next time you all need to embark to a evil biome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is true. But I think the next time we would make a Bloodline Fortress, I would suggest that we actually take a lot less dwarves in. So and then also very, very make sure that it's all focused and we don't overproduce and there's no clutter. And when there's clutter, we throw things away because it's really hard. You know, I'm the type of guy that clutters in his fortresses as well and in his real life, but that's not the point. So making sure that the fortress actually runs very smoothly is hard, especially if you have like 2 mines at the same thing. You know, like 2 cooks at the same soup. Yeah, and this is actually what would kill the fortress on my end, you know, like clutter, or like when I get 2 sieges in and there's just so much clutter that my FPS slowly go down, then I would not be able to finish the fortress just of FPS death.
And you swap 1 year at a time, right?
Yeah.
Well, you will be glad to know I brought us up 20 FPS through the cleanup that I've done.
Oh,
So we're up from
bless.
40 something to 60 almost. We occasionally go over 60. So on my machine, I was 40. Now I'm 60. You should see a bump up too. I don't know where your processor lands, but yeah, those are. I think ultimately a Bloodline Fortress is ours is very successful. I feel like everyone should try one, but it really works because we don't have a lot of overlap in what we like to do. So Roland doesn't care if I say, well, I hope you don't care if I say move some of the production that he's doing to a more sensible place for the crafting system as a whole. Like recently, right now, the biggest move I'm doing, this is the largest move of Roland's setup that I've ever done. So I'm kind of nervous, but I'm moving all of the bar production by smelting ores to the basement. And I'm leaving the upstairs as a melting operation for gear from the surface, which hopefully the fact that we're now on magma forges sort of forgives me for dabbling with your prior work. But
oh no, that was barely work. I just slapped it into some rooms so I get some things done. And this is also something, if I may just slide into this, that has happened to me. As you said, you become the manager. I slap in the 500 lavish meals, and the funny thing is, I technically know how to put up the manager stuff, right? But it's a bit iffy. It's not my thing. So I just kind of actually slapped it in there in hopes that you would see that and maybe get on crafting and maybe fix it for me, because manager for me is like, make me 5 steel swords, thank you very much, like one time. I'm not gonna dabble with this anymore. And
yeah.
So I'm definitely learning from just looking at your layout. That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, it's something that could go wrong, I imagine. If you and the person you're doing a Bloodline Fortress with like to do the same things, I could see this not working out so well. But we happen to have a pretty good synergy, and I think one of the weirdest things to come out of it is what neither of us do. So we have this great fortress. We got crafting floors. We're making hemp clothing. I'm making socks. Sorry, but we're totally making socks. But we're still making trousers and shirts. I just doubled our clothing industry output. Well, I doubled our cloth output. I haven't done a second clothes making workshop. Anyway, all this stuff is happening, right? We got amazing food. We got a cool entrance. We got a justice system. We got nobles. I satisfied all their requirements. We don't have a single crafts guild. We haven't satisfied a single petition, I think. We just, neither of us care. Neither of us care.
That is okay. Yeah.
So it's weird to see a fort.
Guilds are one of my favorite aspects. I love the idea of
maybe we should bring you in on the bloodline, so we can have a complete fort.
Well, I was gonna say, we actually tried early on in the podcast doing a Bloodline Fortress called Lurid Whips, and I don't really know what. I think that maybe one of the things you need to do is you need to stream it. You need to actually have some accountability so that you actually get down and do it, because I got lazy. Like, yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do that tomorrow, and it just tended to never get done.
Yeah, I think the longer it ran, to the harder it was to then kind of remember where you'd left off.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was our problem. Be like 4 weeks
maybe
later.
Too many.
Like, what was happening there? I can't remember anymore.
Did you guys have an end goal in mind? Because we're kind of very loose and haven't quite focused down on what we want to do with the fort.
Yeah, the end goal was to teach Jonathan how to play Dwarf Fortress.
Or not die. Basically, the end goal is don't die.
That sounds like teaching someone how to drive a car by driving them to the store in the car and then putting them in the driver's seat and saying, drive home.
Drive home. Exactly. It was very much like that, because I made a lot of, actually I did learn a whole lot during that situation, during that fortress, because of things that Tony and Roland would say, well, maybe next time you should try not leaving 5 open entrances to the outside.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
yeah, I think we had some problems.
Honestly, I would do that. That wasn't a thing that I really worried about too much, fortress security and buttoning up to start with, until sometime after that, on one of my own fortresses, I got hit by a were giraffe and and into my fortress real quickly, and I learned real quick that there is a reason to button up your fortress.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. There's
But
always
yes.
those things that people don't do, you know?
So maybe if we tried another one, it would go better. But yeah, I think Tony was right. You forget where you left off, especially whenever it's 3 people and it's, you know, you get it, you drop it off, and you don't see it again until 2 game years later.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know that I try to send, I do like a little write-up, even though I've done the streams. First of all, my streams run very long because I spend a lot of the game doing menu stuff and not watching things run. So I can make a year last 7 hours of streaming or more, and 10 hours even. So I don't expect Roland to come and watch 10 hours of content. And although I try to do my wrap-ups at the end of the stream, those even run on. So I do actually do little write-ups of like the important things that if he doesn't know might explode. You know, like you have to know about this, right? Like I told him about the forge in this latest one. I was like, you have to install this last forge because right now the dwarves are gonna not be able to forge things in the basement without it. Blah blah blah. Anyway, I do these write-ups because you kind of have to. That's one of the most important things is knowing where you're leaving off, and the stream would work. The stream would work, except we're on radically different schedules. Roland's in university and on a completely different time zone, and that's a totally different life schedule than someone working a 7 to 3 job, you know, in the Western United States. Like so I can't expect him to get to the stream. So doing the write-ups really helps, I think.
Yes,
kind of the here's what happened.
Yeah.
Catch
I
you
mean,
up.
that's
Yeah,
very
totally.
important to, in my opinion, it's part of doing the bloodline successfully. And I can catch Roland streams because I just put in my headphones at work and listen to it, so I know what's happening. But you know, it's hard to put your headphones in at university.
Or actually, you're mostly streaming when I'm asleep.
Yeah, that's true.
Or when I just wake up and go to university. So when I'm there, you're usually just done.
Yeah. Yeah. But doing the write-ups really helps with the bloodline, I think.
Oh yes, it does. Because I just can go check, you know, like we have 10 points today. Let's see what he did. Oh yeah, right, I forgot. We got grizzly bears now. So it does help, especially because I have a goldfish brain. I'm very...
Yeah. After 10 hours of my stream, you've forgotten what I said in the first hour?
Yeah. I usually check them a little bit too late. So either I already started streaming. I usually cut mine in half because I can't sit here and do like a 10-hour stream, even though I wish I could. So I try to cut them into like 4-hour streams. And one time I started streaming the first half and then I realized, damn it, I didn't even catch a stream. So I got the stream in between and then I was up to speed and made the second half. It's a bit iffy.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. And sometimes I have to watch the end of your stream right before I start my year just to like remember. But do you guys ever take notes when you know you're about to leave your own personal fortress for a long time? You ever like note down what you're doing?
I leave notes to myself in you know how you can change from actually digging to just marking things to be dug for mining?
Yeah.
I will leave notes, not through the notes actual process, but I'll leave great big notes like pointing an arrow and say things like the office is here.
Oh yeah.
So I'll write
that.
myself notes on my actual map.
What
I
gets
wish there
me
was
is the temples and stuff, like figuring out which room is which temple and which thing is which workshop or which guild hall or whatever. It gets super confusing to me.
On-screen labels would be nice, wouldn't they?
Oh, that'd be pretty neat.
Something you can do is remember that the name of the location is the name of this arbitrary entity that is the location, which can span many zones for things like that. But each zone can also be named using the Control-N function. So when you make the temple right away, whatever the location is, it could be like the sentient blueberries or something. You can name the location Knock Gold Temple. and then you just hit I and you scroll over the location and you're like, oh yeah, that's the temple to Notgul. You know, I don't know what the sentient blueberries is. I don't know what the hell that's telling me, you know, but this tells me.
That's true. That's true. But you have to actually hit I and scroll over it. It would be great to be able to have like an index of named things, items, so that you can zoom to them by going to your, like, you hit Control, you know, tilde, and you see the list of things that you've named, and you can zoom to them by that. Because I will often forget, okay, so where is that particular craft store, or
I
where
see.
is that particular
if you need to find the location and not just figure out what this location is, but where
exactly
that location is.
If I need to check back in to see if my even in the locations menu, you can't zoom to the location from the locations menu. And it would be great to be able to say, okay, so I am still short about $1,000 or 1,000 units worth of value for this room to be able to fulfill my contract with the guild. I need to, so which place is that I need to add another artifact to? And you have to actually hit I and start looking around for them.
Yeah, because the denomination is another thing. That's not even the location name, right? So the guild, I think the guild requirements. Oh, you know what? It's all complicated. I can't even remember exactly how it works.
Well, you can see if you fulfilled it or not with the locations menu, and you can see how much you have left to go to the next level of whatever, like to go from a shrine to a temple. But in any case,
if Tarn Adams is listening, a little bit more flexibility with engraving things, allowing us to engrave constructed floors and walls, would make this so much easier. Because one reason not to decorate the floor of a temple in a way that's easily recognized at a glance, for example, just put a big N on the floor in gold or something for the Notgul temple, is because you can't engrave it then. You can't engrave a construction. So people want to engrave their temples, and that's also a reason why people don't dig out gems in their walls, because then you can't engrave it. If we could engrave it,
whips, you know, in Learned Whips, we had a big empty space, and I put an actual logo in flooring of the Dwarf Fortress Roundtable podcast.
That's
logo.
true. It looked pretty good.
I do like that kind of stuff too. But if you want to smooth or engrave the floors, then you can't do that because that's constructing flooring on it. So,
smoothing and engraving is super powerful, especially now in Singe Metal, because in the early stages, I do mass smoothing, right? But then as things go on and the smoothing jobs get smaller, I dedicate smoothing to a few dwarves. We now have 2 legendary engravers and legendary +5, and then we have one, I think, that's pretty close, like legendary +3 or whatever. So I made this tomb for our new Baron, right? Because he's a Baron, he needs a tomb or whatever. I'll help him make use of that tomb too, but that all in time. But I was like, okay, so I made a tomb, and it's a peasant's tomb. This tomb is not good enough for me. I'm like, okay, what do you want, dude? All right, so I engraved it, and he's like, it's a mausoleum for me? And I'm like, all I did was have these guys chisel some stuff into the walls, probably about fighting mandrills. I don't even know what's on there. But these legendary, there was like 6 masterpiece engravings in this one small room because we have legendary engravers. So it immediately mausoleum.
That's a change I made recently too. I don't remember whether it was on, Nathan, one of your streams, or if it was Tony or Roland suggested that I not have my entire population be engravers, that you just limit it so that they become legendary, and
early on
almost makes it
fine.
too easy to bump up the value of your rooms.
Yeah. Early on it's fine, because I find that early on you need to smooth out whole fortress levels. You need to smooth out massive amounts of stuff. So you got to get people on smoothing. So you send 20 dwarves to smooth it, whatever. But you want to leave just enough smoothing left for a group of a few to really get their skills up to snuff during those final smoothing operations, so that when you start engraving things, you got some real skilled engravers. And so that really helps, because then your engravings, who cares about the smoothing, right? As long as your engravings are done by experts.
Yeah. Okay, well, we are pushing our limits on time here. they're artificial limits and arbitrary, but they.
We don't want corporate to crack down on us.
Yeah.
And cut our sending time again.
Right.
Yeah,
we need
Roland's
more
going
of
to be
those
going into
Dwarfos
overtime here in a
commercials.
minute, and have to pay him time and a half.
It's ruthless.
But
Ruthless.
so thanks so much for coming on, Nathan, and we'll have you on again. And
Yeah, thank you for having me. Maybe the conclusion, maybe with a dire and a tragic conclusion, whatever it is, of Singe Metal will warrant another visit.
I think
Yeah,
you
it'll be
guys
nice
might
to
beat
do
the
a-
game. I think you
What's that,
might get to
Tony?
the. I think you might beat the game and get to the credit screen.
Yeah,
The
maybe.
credit screen.
yeah, it will definitely be interesting to have you on for a post-mortem on Singe Metal whenever that does roll around. How, just how many years do you expect? Expect's not the right word. What would be a successful fortress to you for how many years you make it last?
I think a successful fortress is almost immortal until you take your own risks with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that, well, it kind of depends what the goal is. And that's something we're going to start figuring out soon, I think, because I feel like we're finally, our checklist of mechanical things to do has dwindled. And we have to start thinking about what we're going to do with all of this, this prosper that we've gifted ourselves with, these metals and stuff. So once we figure that out, we'll be able to say, like, well, maybe we'll go try to take down the elves. This should take maybe a few years or something, and get an idea of how long it'll run from there. Because right now it's just running into eternity. People keep asking me, do you guys have an end goal for this? I'm like, not yet, I guess. I don't know.
I think your end goal should be the Steam release.
Right? It should.
Just
We
keep
should
it
just run
going.
until the Steam release.
Run it till the Steam
Yeah,
release.
then effortlessly create the new bloodline in the Steam release.
I am going to make a credit screen, though. You've inspired me, Tony. The credit screen is going to be a roll of the dead/missing units list.
That's
And it's
good.
once it's like 10 pages long because a tragedy has happened, I'm just
A
going to have that
tragedy?
roll.
And
You're playing with
congratulations to the
me.
forgotten beast that helped us in the herd,
Right.
eliminating the weakest of us so that the
Yeah.
strongest could live.
I'll try to make a 10-minute credits roll out of it.
Oh, okay. I see. That's a good idea. I like it.
So Nathan, as if it wasn't obvious that you have a YouTube channel, how would people follow you or find out more about you online if they would like to?
Well, you can find my YouTube channel. It's called Techgood. And you can also find me on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/Techgood. And that's TEKKUD, as it's spelled in the game. Also, I regrettably got a Twitter, but I'm not using it because I hate Twitter. So I don't expect any content there, but it's Techgood1.
Well, I can't wait to check it out.
Right? Maybe I'll post the food that I make. I made some mozzarella sticks yesterday.
That sounds delightful.
Well, every podcast release goes onto Twitter here. We did have a Facebook channel until I deleted my Facebook account. Hard deleted it because of the evil that tends to do, in my opinion. But
A good call.
we
I'm not
won't go
touching
there
Facebook.
again.
Yeah.
Anti-shout out to that company.
I don't know if I even will use Twitter at all. And then Facebook, I'm not. You won't even get me to consider making a Facebook page for
This is
channel.
not
reasonable.
2010. We're not doing that anymore.
I'll make a MySpace before I make a Facebook.
Actually viable.
Okay, guys.
All right then.
Hope everyone enjoys their fortressing over the next couple of weeks, and until next time, thanks again, Nathan, for coming on.